Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5. First, let me introduce our group. Uh, First is me, Putri Ramasari, as a moderator and first presenter, and the second is Anissa Intania as the second presenter, and the last is Muhammad Farhansha as the last presenter. Okay, today we will discuss about the cognitive approach. For the first material will be explained by me. So let's continue. Okay, let's continue. For the first material is about the cognitive approach. This approach was a reaction to the behaviorist feature of the audiolinguals approach influenced by cognitive psychology and Chomskyan linguistic. So this cognitive approach is a characteristic of behavior or reaction that are influenced by audiolingual through cognitive psychology and linguistic. So the point here, this approach through his behavior, nature argues that people do not learn from complex system, mathematics for example, but from this approach, people learn through habit and formulas that they get themselves. Then the formula is applied to new problems, so they find their own patterns and then solve new problem with the patterns and habit they built. So make this approach through patterns that we build ourselves. Meanwhile, language learning is a complex system more or less than the same as mathematics. So to be able to learn a language, we have to be responsible for our own learning by understanding the complex material. Okay, for the next material will be explained by Anissa Intenia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, I'm Anissa Intania, and in this session, I will explain the material about cognitive approach. Okay, let's start the first point. The first one is language teaching is viewed as rule acquisition, not habit formation. Language learning is the acquisition of habits that are strengthened by practice and reinforcement. Language is a skill that is obtained from the surrounding environment and then carried out through imitation methods. Language learning is basically a habit forming process, a process by which we acquire new habits. Language learning requires continuous practice. And the second, instruction is often individual. Learners are responsible for their own learning. Individual learning is better known as individualized learning or self-instruction. The implementation of individual learning is not done individually, but learning is carried out in the classroom by paying more attention to the individual differences of students. Learning activities are carried out by providing subject matter to the students that are adjusted to the level of students' development. And the third is grammar must be taught, but it can be taught deductive. Deductive, it means that we are learning the rules first and practice later. Or inductive. Inductive means that the rules can either be stated after practice or left as implicit information for the learner to the process on their own. Okay, that's all my explanation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, back with me again. So now I would like to continue the material before. Is fourth point is about pronunciation is then precise. Perfection is viewed as unrealistic and unattainable. Okay, it means here pronunciation in cognitive learning is not emphasized. Broadly speaking, it's not important because cognitive is more about incoming knowledge and habit patterns. Perfection is considered not real and not achieved. The point here, they learn whatever it is according to their habit patterns. So for perfect, it's not it's okay not to be perfect, but we can understand the material and find our own way to learn. Okay, next, for the fifth point is about reading and writing are once again as important as listening and speaking. It means here, reading and writing are very important, just like listening and talking, because the cognitive approach uh, forces to make habit and solve other problems. So reading is the key, where we get new knowledge and find patterns, right, to remember patterns and understand deeper. Speaking listening is a form of training. It means solving the problem from the pattern earlier can be implied through speaking and listening. Okay, next, for the sixth point is about vocabulary learning is again stressed officially at intermediate and advanced level. It means here vocabulary is just as important, even though the existing vocabulary is from junior high school or high school, because vocabulary is one of the keys where this cognitive approach can work well. Okay, for the next material will be explained by Muhammad Farhansyah.
Okay, I will explain the next feature of cognitive approach. The feature is error are viewed as inevitable to use constructively for enhance the learning process or for feedback and correction. The mean is that in the application of the cognitive approach, error occur and cannot be avoided. But from this mistake, it becomes as improvement in increasing learning, or in other meanings, it can be feedback or correction. The last is the teacher is expected to have good general proficiency in the target language as well as an ability to analyze the target language. The meaning is teacher is required to have good general knowledge in the target language. Not only knowing, the teacher is also expected to be able to be analyze the target language in applying the cognitive approach. I think that's all my explanation. Thank you. I give back to moderator.
Okay, I think that's all of our presentation and our material. So thank you for your attention. I'm sorry for our mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.